very much. Of course, you are speaking to the converted here, as you can well appreciate. But my questions are a bit, my last two questions are somewhat, perhaps, more difficult. I have noticed that in Britain, your party is a single-issue party. Though I entirely agree with you, is it not possible to convert into something much more important, a party that could perhaps compete with the Conservatives? That's question number one. Then question number two is this, that I have many friends, not only on the left, but also on the moderate right, if you like, who think that the Union is a marvelous thing. There are a number of psychological reasons for that. One is that, you know, the countries of Central and Eastern Europe wanted to join the West and didn't realize they joined the Union. That was one problem, psychologically speaking. The other problem was that there's a huge propaganda machine, maybe hundreds of NGO organizations paid for by the Union, as you probably would agree, and of course it's very difficult to counteract their arguments, because they say the peace in Europe for 60 years, you know, it's the cooperation between nations, it's the only way forward. There are huge blocks like China, India, Brazil, God knows what. We need to be huge, you know. There are a number of these arguments. I won't go into them because there's so many, and you definitely know them all, I'm sure. But what to say to people who fall in for all that? You know, how to somehow make them realize that the thing which looks idealistic, which looks positive, is actually so rotten and evil as you say. See, we had this problem with communism. It also had its good part. It also claimed that there will be more equality, more distribution of income, and more economy of scale, which would make goods so cheap for everyone. As my father used to say, fortunately, they failed economically as the Union, and no doubt will fail in Italy and Spain. Thank you.
Okay, those two questions. Number one, when we set UKIP up, I think it was necessarily, in its early days, a single-issue protest party. And our job was to try and wake people up to the threat to our democracy, to our nation, to our economy that was posed by the European Union. But that has changed. What voters now want to know, they say, all right, Nigel, I'm with you, mate. I agree with you on the Europe bit, but what happens then? And because we're the only party in the UK advocating withdrawal from political union and its replacement with a trade deal, we're the only party free to think about how that independent Britain could and should be run. And that is why we've been, over the last couple of years, gradually developing a much bigger, broader domestic manifesto for how we want the country to run. And I think it's no coincidence that what the opinion polls now say is they don't just view UKIP as being a vehicle, a receptacle for protest votes in a European election. They now want to vote UKIP in local elections, and the opinion polls indicate we're even above the Lib Dems now in terms of how we'll do in the next general election. So I agree absolutely with the sentiment of your first question, but to some extent, sir, it's happening already. Your second question, what do you do when you meet the man or woman who believes in the big idea? Do you know what I do? Move on to the next person. I mean, frankly, life is too short to deal with dreamers. But seriously, what the Eurobarometer is the European Union's own polling research data, and it's very, very comprehensive, and it's very good, and it's very interesting, because what it shows is that actually right across the European Union, the number of people who fall into the category that you've described are now in a small minority. So what we've got to do is to mobilise those people who already feel with us in their hearts We've got to make them with us in their heads as well. And the only way we are going to change this is by getting vast numbers of people to vote against the established political parties. So my advice, don't worry about the dreamers, move on to the next one. There is a massive audience out there of people who want a Europe of some kind. They want a forum in Europe where they feel we're working and trading together. We don't need the institutions of the European Union as they're currently structured to do that, and I think the potential for those out there that feel our way already is absolutely enormous, and that's why we're beginning to see this democratic revolution that is now beginning to take hold across Europe, and as far as I'm concerned, it can't happen soon enough. Thank you.